And we're back. And Saran figured out I was the technical issue. So, happy Monday. Happy Monday. Happy Veterans Day to all of my veterans who have served us bravely and protecting our country and protecting our communities. Special shout out to my baby sister, who I affectionately refer to as just Baby D. She knows who she is. Anyway, and she does know about all the new snacks. Trust me. But I want to come back to you again because we have an amazing guest, and I had some technical difficulties earlier. But I want to make sure we have this conversation because so many of us have been faced with not just one of, but several of the things that she has overcome because she decided that no matter what, she was going to win. And not just that she was going to win, but she was going to take other people with her. And so, with that, today we are just really going to get into it, right? Because so many of us have gotten to a place where you felt like everything was amazing. You started to really feel like everything was on track. Nothing was going wrong. You had it under control. But then something happened. You got laid off. Your spouse said, I want a divorce. Or you said you want a divorce. Your finances changed dramatically. You lost a loved one. But in a blink of an eye, all these things change and they cause you to question not just who you are, but if you're even worthy of the things you thought you already had, right? Because they can unravel so quickly. Even the strongest of us have had moments where we've been in a dark place where we said, is this really real? Am I even worth it? Is this the place where I'm supposed to be? And then you even get there and you wonder, how in the world did I get here? How did I get to this place? And then you're wondering and you're looking, you have an anxiety wondering, are you going to ever bounce back? Because so many things have weighed you down. And so many women that I talk to with their finances who look amazing on the outside, who are doing amazing things, and their finances are in chaos because of many things that have happened in their lives to bring them to this place. But you remember, or you come to a podcast like this one, or you run into another woman who fixes your crown and says, not only are you worth it, you were meant for it. You were meant to bring this thing through and to move you forward. And you in that moment decided you're never going to give up and you're going to win. And today's guest is the true example of no matter what, winning, no matter what, getting the thing done and moving forward. Anissa is an amazing testimony of all the things we may have thought we've ever been faced with that we would never be able to come through. So, if this is your first time here to the live podcast with me, I'm your girl, Saran, and I help high income, high net worth women to feel empowered in their money so that they can go from a place of chaos to calm using my framework to allow you to be able to enjoy life without and have a strong financial life without giving up the joys of life, including those lattes, trips to the beach, and brunch with the girls. Because how many of you have met with a financial professional and the first thing they want to come for is all the joy that you already had? And you're like, but if I don't have these, I'm going to be just somebody who works and pays bills. But that's not what we do here at Chaos to Calm. We find ways to elevate joy and to allow you to have more of what you already enjoy and less of what you don't enjoy. So, at any rate, I'm excited to bring to the stage my new friend. We just met a few weeks ago, but when I heard her story and I heard what she was doing in the community and how she was helping women, I said, we got to have a conversation on video because there are so many women in my audience and in my network who need the message that she brings. So I'm going to bring Anissa up to the stage and to the virtual stage, if you will, into the conversation. Anissa, tell us who
Hello.
you are, tell us where you're from, and tell us, something, one of the reasons you got here and you even founded, and I didn't even get to mention that you founded the Soul Sisters Society. So just tell us a little bit about yourself so we can connect with you. And I'm going to post the new link in the group since we had to start over while you're talking.
Yes. Well, thank you, Saran, for having me on your platform. I really appreciate it. We did connect when we met each other last month and another organization that we're part of, and I'm super excited to be able to share my story. And yeah, so I'm Anissa, and I empower women of color. To navigate divorce and grief and
Mm,
reclaim their strength and their joy, and so that they can manifest their extraordinary future that they deserve. I started an organization called Soul Sister Society, and this organization was founded on the back of my own trauma. And I divorced my husband in a 3.5 year span. I
mm,
left a marriage, 30 years. It was not planned. It was something that just my eyes became open to something. It was
mm,
after my husband had, I discovered that he had committed infidelity, and it was really, really bad. And it was at the height of the pandemic. And through that whole 3.5 years leading up to now, 4 years now, I have was a caregiver for my parents. Both parents are now deceased. I was fired from a job. I was trying to build a business, and through all of that navigating and all of that life transition, I found myself in a spiral depression and masking it very well in front of my friends and family. But I decided that I would plan a sabbatical for a year or two to Costa Rica. That trip never took place because I went in for a routine mammogram where I was told a couple of weeks later that I was stage 2 breast cancer.
mm.
And you can imagine my world was just flipped upside down again. And I became to the point where I was like, Lord, I can't take this anymore. But it was on my bed where I was beginning to rediscover what next, and, just kind of sit in what was next for my life as I go through this transition of getting the care that I needed to overcome breast cancer. And that's where decided, you know what, I'm not going to lay in this. I'm going to get up and I'm going to share my story with other women, and to help them, because I started running into a lot of women who was actually going through some of the same things that I was going through. And so that's what empowered me to do that.
I love it. I mean, I just want to share with you publicly, my praise for you just still standing, because
Yeah.
you didn't go through one major life shift. You went through about four simultaneously. Right?
Simultaneously.
And so many of the women that I am blessed to be able to serve and empower have gone through a divorce, or lost a loved one, or lost a job, but not, or had a severe illness, not all four within in the time span. And so I love that you've turned that pain into power and purpose by coming to, the world with the gift and saying, this is me, this is all that I am, these are the things I've overcome or
Mhm.
overcoming, right? Because
Mhm.
we're all in process, and through that process you've allowed yourself to be a gift to the
Mhm.
world in the work that you do. So I love that. And so that's why I was really excited. And even when we talked offline, I was like, my God, what a blessing. Wait, and let's add the depression to it, right? That's a
Oh
whole
yeah.
nother battle, right?
Oh yeah.
And
Whole nother.
so, let's let's take it in pieces, right? Because it's
Mhm.
it's a lot to digest. And I know you lived it, so you
Mhm.
obviously know it's a lot to
Mhm.
digest.
Mhm.
The first one I want to talk about is the mask, right? You said, as you were talking, that you had this this mask on that said, "Hey, I'm okay. I got this." You
Mm-hmm.
know, what was the pivotal point or the thing that happened for you that said, "You know what? Bump this mask. This was going on, y'all. This is what I could get done. Here go all my dirty little secrets. Now what? What
Yeah.
was the
Yeah.
thing?"
That's a good question, and thank you for that because I'm often asked that question as far as what was my aha moment that made me turn. But I want to just make a point here that I was always in therapy. 4 years of therapy, 3.5, 4 years of therapy. I was always in therapy, but I was still just highly depressed because everything that you go through, like the things that I went through, like so many other women are going through or experiencing, it's a process.
Mm-hmm.
It takes it's a process to go through these things and to just get through the next step, just to get to the next step and then the next step and the next step. And sometimes you even take steps back, depending on what day it is or what time of day it is. I believe that when I was told that I had breast cancer, after planning this beautiful sabbatical to Costa Rica, I had planned and solidified a beautiful 2-bedroom apartment, brand new, as a matter of fact, newly built, on top of a hill. I imagined myself sitting there, stepping outside of my door, stepping onto the hill and having a yoga session or a meditation session. I had began to take steps to learn Spanish and to just sort of declutter my life, selling clothes and furniture and just organizing things. And I had just a few tubs that was going to come with me. And so imagine me going through all of this planning and organizing everything after experiencing the death of my parents and grieving my marriage. Then to be told that you have stage 2 breast cancer. It was a choice that I had to make after letting out a flood of tears. I think I had so many tears. I cried so much. I don't think I could shed. You just like I've shed enough tears that I don't have any more tears in my tear ducts. I got to the point where I had to make a choice, and I said either I'm gonna die or I'm gonna just waddle in this, or I'm going to change this and make this for the good. And I just felt it so deeply in my gut to start a community. I didn't know how to do it, what to do. I just was like, okay, God, just lead me. I don't know what I'm doing here. I've never done anything like this. Start a community. And he just guided me on through it. And I got through it. And then another thing is, I thought about my daughters. I thought about my nieces. I thought about the young people that were surrounded by me. And I thought, I don't want to let them down. I really want to show them how and what it looks like to thrive after being healed. But my mask was very deep.
Mm-hmm.
I was considered a high functioning type depressed person.
Mm-hmm.
I've always been a mover and a shaker in my career, sort of. I just strive on being that person, that go to person. It was like, Anissa, what we're going to do here or what we're going to do there. And I'm the go to person. And I just thought, after this breast cancer diagnosis, I just realized, I was like, okay, I can't do this anymore. I have to let it all go. And so
Mm-hmm.
that was a pivotal moment for me. It was the breast cancer diagnosis, and I decided that I was going to make a choice to live or die.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm glad you decided to live,
Yeah,
because we
yeah.
wouldn't have the blessing of being able to talk to you today and knowing that journey, going through those things, right? And, we focus here on mindset and money, but
Mhm.
these types of things impact us, because as you go through things like that, you mentioned you lost your job, and losing your job at a time when you have a medical issue is
Mhm.
financially devastating as well. And
Mhm.
so I just, you know, I want to continue to honor you and your strength to just to be able to share these types of stories and empowering other women. So as you were able to let down the mask after the breast cancer diagnosis, you know, did you feel a sense of relief? Did were you able to get more support around you to move forward?
Mhm. Yeah, so there was a process that took place in letting that mask down. I felt like I was always an open book, sort of, um,
Hmm.
but this was different. There were things as I was building the community and as I decided that this was the route that I was going to take. I was going to do what I can do, the best that I can do, that I knew how to do to support myself in my journey, my healing journey. I received so much support from friends, from
Hmm.
family, my siblings, and my children just have been amazing through this entire process. Um, but I wanna say that it's really a process. There were things that needed to take place, that I needed to tell my friends and my family things that was going on with me that I had never shared with them, because of pride. And when you go through things like what I've been through, like so many other women are going through, we have a sense of pride.
Yeah.
We get a sense of pride in how well our children are thriving, how well we're thriving, how our husbands, our lives are surrounded by what we've built, and how well we're doing and how well we're doing in our careers. So I literally, this is no lie, I had to create a Zoom meeting with my girlfriends one by one and my siblings all together. I called them, I texted them, and I said, "Hey, I need to talk to you all." And the things that I shared with them that I was going through from like over the last 20 years was it was like a big weight off of my shoulder, a huge weight. And then I felt guilty about even just not just withholding some of the information from.
Mhm.
But like I said, it's a process and it's something that you just don't get up and say, "Hey, I'm gonna do it," and it's done. For some, it's the process. And I went through that process and I just had to, tell my family. But yes, it was a huge weight off of me. And also things that it was also a weight off of my children too.
Mm.
I saw that they were thriving and they felt so good that they didn't have to live the lie, or the secret, rather, not so much of the lie, but just the secret. And, you know, some business is not everybody's business. That's not really where I'm going at. But what I'm really saying is that sometimes, it does do good to get that support that you need from others. And you'd be surprised how people will welcome you. And
Yeah.
you'd be surprised how liberating and freeing it is.
Yeah, no, and I get it, and I understand, and I'm thankful that you're able to share that, because while many women may not have had the heaviest burdens of the things that you've been able to share, but whatever it is that as they go through, it is heavy,
Mhm,
right? And
mhm,
as we're walking through our journey, whether it be financial, mental, spiritual,
mhm,
as we're going through that journey, or we're going through the process of becoming whoever the new person is that we're emerging to be, it
mhm,
it depending on what it is, it can feel like you need to hide it, but really it's in the expression of going through or having come through that really begins to kind of give you the transformation that you're looking
Yes,
for.
absolutely.
And while as I've gone through some of my own transformations, I know the freedom to be able to say, I'm not doing that.
It's liberating.
And then no. And they're
It
like, well, why? Because I said no.
just don't want
But
to.
why?
Yeah.
There's no, I don't have to give you a reason. The answer is no.
No is a complete sentence.
No. You don't
No
have
is
to
a
cuss me out.
yes. Yeah.
That doesn't sound interesting to me.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
and one of the things, that I know we talk about here, I talk about here on my
Mhm.
podcast a lot is that everything is energy.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so everything is energy, and even your money is energy. It
Ab
really isn't a thing. It really is energy because
absolutely.
whatever energy you use to earn it makes it energy because you had to expel the energy to do it. And if we don't control and direct our energy,
Mhm.
it will become chaos and do whatever it wants.
Yep.
And so we control our words, our speech, we control our self-talk, we
That's right.
control our physical and mental health, and
Mhm.
we control whatever income it is that we have coming in.
Yep.
Only if we know we control it.
Yep. Right.
And the only reason it works if you know you control it is
Ooh.
because you have the full knowledge and awareness that you're in control. At the
Yes.
very moment that you say you do not have control, you've lost it.
That's
And
deep.
that's really the big thing. And I know I consider myself a highly accountable person,
Mhm. Mhm.
right? And that if something happens, I'm like, man, that's my fault. And they're like, no, it's not your fault. XYZ happened, so and so did this ABC 1, 2, 3. And I'm like, yeah, but it's my fault because I shouldn't have showed up. I shouldn't have
Mhm.
answered the phone. I shouldn't have
Mhm.
went over there that day. I
Mhm.
shouldn't have said yes. I should have
Yes.
went the other way. I should have
Yes.
changed what I was doing over here. Because in my mind, as long as I'm accountable for it, I have control over it.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And there's a lot of spiritual thought that goes into that as well. And there's a lot of back stories to those things. And there's scientific support for it. So I mean, I'm not just making it up. As
Absolutely.
long as you're accountable for it and you say that was my fault, then you can make the change. As soon as it's somebody else's fault, you have given them the control and them the responsibility to make the change.
Say that.
And
Yes.
so that's why I really, was drawn to you. And I was like, because I kept coming back to you. I was like, why do I need to go back to her?
Yes.
Let's just talk about let's talk about what we're gonna talk about, girl.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And so as someone who empowers and transforms others, what is one message that you feel like every woman should hear in their lives?
Ooh, that they are worthy. That you are worthy. And I want to go back to what you just said. I just wrote an article, a little blog today. It's not published yet, but the whole thing was that I get to rewrite my story, no matter how old I am.
Mm.
I can still rewrite my story. I still have visions and dreams. And that's what I want to let every woman out there know. No matter what you have gone through, you keep waking up, you keep getting up, and you are worthy, and you are in control of your own story. Your own story. You can rewrite it at any time.
I I love that because I run into so many women who have questioned or like you can feel the energy, right? As
Mhm,
you go,
mhm,
as you learn and grow and you elevate in your own healing journey, you can
mhm,
feel when someone's in the space you've been in before. And
mhm,
you just like, I can't wait for her to get to the next level. And
mhm,
you
mhm,
just feel it, right? Because
mhm,
I'm no stranger to feeling unworthy,
mhm,
right?
mhm,
I'm
mhm.
no
Yeah,
stranger,
yeah,
right? It's like, what? You want me to do what?
yeah,
Me?
yeah.
Hmm. I don't feel worthy. Let me self-sabotage so this doesn't happen.
That part, that happens a
Let
lot.
me hurry up and self-sabotage so
Mhm,
I
mhm.
don't have to worry about if I'm worthy or not.
Yeah, yeah.
But And you see how easy I can say that because I have the awareness that
Yes.
I can take control of it now. Because if
Very.
I ignored it and said, "No, I'm all that in a bag of chips and I don't have no issues," well, yeah, I am still all those things,
Yeah.
and I'm also human, and I also have to deal with
Yeah.
old crap
Yeah.
that made me question if this was for me.
Yeah.
And so because you specialize like I do, women over 40, what do you feel like is one of the things that maybe a woman in her 40s can do, especially if she's starting over, right? Maybe she's starting over from a job loss or job transition, or maybe she's gotten divorced, or maybe she's lost some significant loved ones, you know.
Mhm.
Many of us, many of us have other family members or friends that we consider family that are close, it including our parents and grandparents that are transitioning now as we get older, right? We
Mhm.
know evolution wise because we went to the class that wait, our parents might pass before us, but it doesn't mean that we're really with it when it happens.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
what are some things that you feel like women can do as they start over and if they're starting over, especially over 40?
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes when this happens, we tend to get um, just really down on ourselves. Um, Probably mainly because of our age. The first thing that I thought about when I was divorcing was my finances. There were a lot of things at stake: my finances, retirement, all the things that I felt that I built with my husband, that we built together over a 30-year span, was all of a sudden just kind of wiped under me. And so I feel that just getting a hold of, first of all, let's acknowledge therapy. Let's acknowledge that it's okay to get therapy and to see about your mental fitness.
Mhm.
Mental fitness is very, very important when you're going through this. And one of the things that I also want to say is, secondly, is to get those finances, get a hold of those finances, get them in check, because if you don't, you will begin to eat away and make decisions unrationally because you're such an emotional frenzy, an
Mhm.
emotional state. So those are some of the things that I would say is not only just keep dreaming, keep building yourself up mentally, but get in some good therapy and make sure that you're being honest about with that therapist and put in the work. Be prepared to put in the work. Go to war. Fight every day, get up and fight. And then let's get these finances together, because if we don't, we can find ourselves in situations that are not good situations for us. And if you're, if you have children or whatever, then you'll find yourself all of a sudden at a still where, just kind of dwindling down a rabbit hole. So yeah.
And I love that you said that because one of my colleagues, Dr. Catherine Latoya Grant Austin, she and her husband, they do a financial date night. And she
Mhm.
literally just made this post today. I'm going to see if I can read it about the cost of divorce, right? And so when you talk
Mhm.
about finances, so on the thing that she posts that she says the cost of she goes it has like the leading causes
Mhm.
and the risks and
Mhm.
all that. But we're gonna talk about the money.
Yeah.
So she says the cost of divorce, if including the contest for child support or and child custody, is about $23,000.
Mhm.
The median cost without a child is about 7,500.
Mhm.
The average cost is about $12,000. If it's uncontested, it could be 4,100, which is the cheaper version.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, And the average divorce attorney's fee is $11,000.
Mhm.
And the
Mhm.
hourly rate is around $270. Now,
Mhm.
if we're divorcing, I don't know, it doesn't have here the percentages of uncontested divorces, but 4,100 seems like the lower of the cost, but up to here 23,000, and that doesn't mean that it can't be higher
Mhm.
depending on what it is.
Mhm.
And it's not even saying anything about the actual finances once you get in. That's just the cost
Mhm.
of a
Yep.
divorce. It
Yes.
doesn't break down the splitting of the retirements, the splitting of the home, or
Yes.
the extra home, or the any investment accounts together, the cars,
Yes.
all the other things that we accumulate as couples. It doesn't go into the details of those things, because there are times, and I've had several clients where, one spouse, and usually I meet with the woman, has had maybe a very large retirement account. And there's
Mm-hmm.
a huge trend now. I've had several, maybe at least 5 or 6 clients in the last 2 years come as women, and they were the ones who had accumulated the assets, and they're having to split it
Yep.
with their spouse. And
Yes.
so we're not protecting ourselves financially either when we go into our marriages. We don't think,
Mm-hmm.
let's have a plan for one another
Mm-hmm.
while we still like each other if we get divorced.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that really is the conversation. Like, listen, while we still really love and care about one another,
Right.
let's decide, if God forbid we decide that we no longer want to be together,
Yeah.
how do we want to take care of one another based on our love for each other right now? Right.
That's so important, so important. Because I tell you one thing, like me, my husband was the breadwinner, and he made really good money. But it's so funny because when I was going through this divorce, when I first filed, we were having conversations as if he was making promises to our adult children that he no longer kind of, he kind of ventured off from that, and he made promises to me too, verbally. um and I went through this divorce with the divorce attorney, and it was very just kind of subtle, just not, it was just like, okay, this is fair and this is not fair. But and we just kind of did it. But as things were unfolding, I saw how unfair it was. And there were just so many aspects to things where I felt that I could have gotten a better deal. Most of the
Mhm.
times we're not. I know women that are just get played over with attorneys and just all kinds of stuff. It's so amazing. But I want to say this though too. There's a statistics show that women, after divorce, women's household income falls by an average of 41%.
Mhm.
An average of 41%, while men's household income falls by only like 23%. And then there's another statistic that says men's standard of living declines by 21%, but the woman's drops by an average of 41 to 45%. That's a
That's
lot.
a lot. That's a lot.
And so it takes us longer to get through this financial rut. One of the things that happened to me when I was divorcing, I realized that I'm no longer going to be able to afford the kind of house that I was living in. Am I going to be able to afford the type of car that I'm driving? And even if you've lost a loved one to due to, he's deceased now, or whatever your situation is, are you planned? Do you have taken into all of that into account? So it's very good what you said. I like what you said about why we still like each other and love each other. How are we going to take care of each other after, if God forbid something does happen? So those
Yeah.
are the things that, we have to try to rebound from. And a lot of times it takes us 5 to 10 years to even rebound from that.
Yeah. And I think in that vein, when we talk about finances, right, in the relationship, the big thing, for me when I work with women is, what's the long-term plan with your finances? Because as you said, the reduction in finances of 40%. I mean, if you're watching live, raise your say one if you can afford to take a 40% cut. Put two if you're like, nah, I need that 40%, right? And that's where we have to get innovative, and we have to be strategic and participate in the finances of the home and understand it. The
Mhm.
other dynamic that we experience in our world is that many of us get married and we're fine, we have great finances, but we don't have a long-term plan for if our spouse predeceases us, because in the marriage vows it says through death. I mean, what does it say? It's,
It's to death do us
death
part.
do us part.
Sickness and
And so
health.
death do us part. And so that means that somebody is going to part us if we do continue to stay married. So
Mhm.
what if Dr. Marcia said two, 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 I
Yeah.
want my 40%. So the thing is that if we want that, we have to create that love language, that financial plan that allows us to live a great life together and to allow the other spouse, because the other spouse to live a great life when we're no longer here, because all those things are it. I don't know anybody who's got out of life alive. Do you know anybody who's gotten out of life alive? Like
Mm-mm.
the only way out is that's the way out.
Mm-mm.
And
Mm-mm.
so we're planning our finances, but also being strategic about our finances to get us to a place of control where we know we want to have the house, the car, the vacation home, or we want to travel the world, or we want to build businesses, or we want to trade stocks, or we want to become an Airbnb, do Airbnb. Having money for these type of investments requires planning. It
Mhm.
doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice the joy, but you got to have a plan or something in place to move us forward.
Mm.
So, hey, Lisa. Oh, and Dr. Marcia said, I made more and the ex wanted to take more. Well, and see that, and so the examples are coming along. And so the thing is that having a plan, having things laid out, using the financial tools, because the one thing I do share with my clients, especially if they're couples, is I know you love each other. I know you say you do not want to look at doing a prenuptial agreement or having a postnuptial discussion or anything like that. But know this, if you don't put one in place, there is one in place. It's whatever the state that you live in decides are the rules.
Mhm. Mhm.
And so if you don't want the government's plan,
Mhm.
if something happens, then
Mhm.
put together your own plan, right?
Mhm.
And that really is the message is, if you don't want the government's plan, put together your own plan, because if you don't put together your own plan, then who knows, depending on your state, the laws could be, a little bit
Yeah.
wonky and you be like, man, I just got really taken to the cleaners, if you will. Now,
And
what state
even
are
with
you in again, Anissa?
I'm sorry?
What state are you in again?
I'm in Texas.
Okay.
And I wanted to add to that, even the young ladies that are like, if you're common law, you need to look at that type of, you need prenups in place, or, for common law marriage as well. But you need to make sure that you're protecting yourself and protecting, if you have children from a previous relationship, you're bringing them into a new relationship. Financial planning is just the way to go.
Yeah. And there's some states that don't even recognize common law anymore.
Mhm.
Especially some of the northeastern states, they don't even recognize it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those areas of finance become super, super duper important. So I
Mhm.
want to get to some cool stuff because you're doing some amazing things. And I
Mhm.
want to, not that finance ain't cool, because I'm all about the money.
Oh,
Right. I want to get to some of the cool stuff that you're doing too, because as women in our of a certain age, because I still identify as 35.
that's all right. Because I'm 35 in my mind.
Right. Look, I still identify as 35, a 35-year-old billionaire. I mean,
Yeah, right.
everybody, I get to choose how address me as such. That's how I feel. That's how I identify. So, but the thing is that for our ladies who are, we're coming into ourselves, I feel like you really hit your stride in your 40s,
Oh,
going
yeah.
into your 50s, and things just get to be amazing. And I see one of my good friends, my sorority sisters and my Black Door Society sister in the chat, Dr. Marcia. When I tell you this woman is on a train, I'm like, I can't wait to get to where I see her going. She's doing so many things. And I'm like, when you're looking up to women who are doing great things and you say, hey, I know I can do it because she's doing it. And that's the kind of circle you want to build for yourself.
Absolutely.
And I know that that's the kind of community you have built with the Soul Sister Society. So I really want you to talk about the Soul Sister Society a little bit and the amazing women that you have there. I know it's an intimate community, but I
Yes.
do want you to at least talk about it, even if it's not open to anybody joining. But I would love for you to talk about it.
No, yeah, it's for I say it's a platform for women 40 and older, but I think we have a few 30 something year olds who kind of just slipped on in there. And it's actually a platform that's open to anyone. Pretty much it's a subscription base, but we are on all social media platforms. Yeah, so we have a bi-monthly sister circle where we meet. Actually, we meet every single Wednesday at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and we're doing wonderful things inside the Sister Circle. It's just an intimate environment where we come together and we talk about topics. We have raw, authentic conversations every other week, and once a month we have a guest speaker, whether that's a therapist or it's a financial planner such as yourself. We have a wellness practitioners and doctors. We have breath work. We have all types of people coming on the platform to speak to us. We also have a monthly Bible study, and it's just it's a community where we just kind of enjoy having those deep conversations. Sometimes we end up trauma dumping on our friends who maybe have not been, uh, maybe not don't understand really quite what we're going through. This space here allows us to talk about what our deepest insecurities are and our deepest conversations about just venting about what the grief that we're experiencing. I'm planning a retreat for 2025. I can't wait for that. Uh, we have a vision board party that's coming up. We just got done with the breast cancer victory walk, and we're doing a hike. Yeah, so that we're doing all kinds of things on a virtual platform, but then when we could come together, uh, you know together locally, that's also a good thing.
Yeah, I love that because women thrive in community.
Yes,
Even my introvert, look, this is for my even my introvert sisters. You belong in a community too.
yes, you do. Yes, you do.
It
Yeah,
is for you
yeah.
too.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we have some that don't even come off their camera. They just want to listen and they prefer to chat. That's fine.
yeah, yeah. But I love that. And so, where can my audience connect with you or get connected with you to, stay in the know and be able to be connected to high vibrational women like you who are healing out loud? And
Yeah.
that is a big thing because I know that as we choose to heal out loud, we can help others, hundreds and thousands of others to be able to heal with us.
Yes. The best place to connect with me is through my website, thesoulsisterssociety.com. And that sisters is with an S. So it's thesoulsisterssociety.com. And you can also be up to date on all our events and activities through Instagram and our Facebook page. That's the Soul Sisters Society on Instagram. And then yeah, and then you'll be locked into our community, and there you'll be able to subscribe. If you connect with me and DM me, I'll have a special code for you to subscribe to the community. You can get a 60-day free subscription, and then 50% off for a lifetime after that. So yeah.
No, I love that. And I think, one of the things I typically ask my guests is, you know, how can I be of service to you?
Oh, wow. Saran, I would love for you to come into the Sister Circle and do just a great presentation. Like I said, a lot of what you are doing in your platform and doing for women is highly, highly needed, especially women of color. We're the ones that get these life changing altering moments and we're caught off guard. We're not
Mhm.
financially able. It takes us longer, a little longer, to get ourselves back on our feet. And we, it's just, it takes us a little longer. So I would love for you to come to my platform, speak to my group of women, and just tell them what you're doing for your women. And that will be wonderful for me, because a lot of times the planning starts before right now, like what you
Absolutely.
just said, and it won't catch us off guard as well. But then also, there are women there in the community that are married, but there are things that they can do. There are things that the others can do. So I think that your platform is great. So if you would be willing to come on my platform, that would be a wonderful thing.
Of course, I'm happy to serve, and because I know that we need each other, and in the many ups and downs of the things that I've had to overcome,
Mm.
and the past trauma told me I had to do it by myself.
Ooh, that's so good.
And I learned that I was able to do it much faster with others.
Oh, that's so good.
And so don't let the lie of, oh, you got to do this on your own because you've been hyper independent your whole life since you were a kid, especially if you're Gen X. Man, we've been out in these streets since we was 5 running things. Go get help. Go,
Okay.
go get help. Pay for it if you have to. Go get
Pay
the
for it
help.
if you have to. Yes.
And
You're
I laugh
so
because I'm like the poster child for it. I go to the gym. I have a personal trainer. Now, the stuff that I do because I had some physical challenges is super basic. But every time I look at the trainer, I'm like, I'm here just because I want you to focus on me and I don't want to have to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. Because
yeah,
I've been trying to figure out everything my whole life. I just
yeah,
want to get here and you tell me what to do. Go
yeah.
over here, move this, move that. I mean, I fight a little bit because I don't be wanting to do it. I'm like, why I gotta be on the treadmill for 40 minutes? Did we do this yesterday?
Fight and talking the whole time. Just keep
Fighting
moving.
and
Okay,
doing
just
it.
keep moving. Yeah.
But finding the space and finding a place where you can get support. Start somewhere,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I know I have the physical trainer, which really helps me. I know I
Yes.
have some support around my home to help me do things that I can obviously do myself.
Yeah.
But why?
Yeah. Exactly.
Look, but why?
I totally agree. It's time for us to take the superwoman cape off and um call for help. It's okay.
No,
I
and
had to.
it's not even that. It's like learn to delegate
Yeah.
because I think Gen X, I mean, if we go through it, like, because if you could look, I heard about the 40 and up side of TikTok, but if
Yeah.
you go over there, everybody, we're all so tough. Like,
Yes.
let's stop it. We want to be cool and collected. I want to
Collected.
just sit down with some cucumbers and wait for stuff to happen instead of always trying to make it like what? But and I say that in just
You're
because
so
we
right.
gotta lighten up a little bit, right? Because
Yes.
guess what?
Yeah.
We're running because we're at the age where we're super successful, right? We're
Mhm.
we're
Mhm.
running, we're at the top of we're probably at the top or pushing our way to the top
Yeah.
of our careers.
Yeah.
Or we're starting businesses and starting
Yeah.
over and doing things
Yeah.
and pushing our way through that.
Mhm.
Or we are pushing the kids out of college and out of
Yes.
our bank accounts and out of our
Yeah.
homes, right?
Mhm.
And then you find yourself in a new place when you're in an empty nest. It's like, wait, there's no people here. Do I need this much groceries?
Mhm.
Hmm.
Mm-mm.
Do I need to do these things? And you find yourself in a new place where what's next for me, right?
Mhm.
Or you find that now you got grandbabies coming
Mhm.
and you want to figure out like, how do I help my kids plan for them without
Mhm.
being overbearing and taking over the process,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
we're in charge of stuff as Gen Xers. That's what we do. We
Yes,
run
that's
things.
right. We do. Mom,
And
mom taught us really well, per se.
yeah, here's the key. Go let yourself in and make
Right.
it.
Yep. 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 Here's how you do this and do
That's
that.
how
Yep.
you
Right.
learn. Instructions. What do you mean?
Mm-mm.
Nobody showed me how to do it.
No.
Nobody showed me either.
Mm-mm. Yep. You're so
So, but
right.
I thank you for coming because I think that having these kind of open conversations
Mm-hmm.
and moving the needle, just I think the whole internet just flashed. But getting out and saying, hey, this is where I've been, this is what happened, this is how I felt,
Mm-hmm.
this is what
Yeah.
helped me to level up, and this
Yeah.
is where we're going, and we can go together. So
I
I'm
love
excited
that.
to have you. Hopefully you'll come back again, maybe sometime
I
next year. We can
will
check in on the
anytime.
community,
Yes. And
and we can share some more powerful stories. I want
yes.
to again honor you for your power, for
Thank
your vulnerability, for your ability to show your worthiness through your
you.
story, not
Mm,
just your positive story, but the tough stuff
yeah.
behind the scenes that we don't often want to talk about, but we need to hear about so that we can support one another.
Yes.
So I thank you so, so much for coming. And I want to thank everyone for coming live today. We got about 10, 20 of y'all here live, and I appreciate you showing up. We're here every Monday at 8:30 p.m. live, where we just talk about, the things that impact women when it comes to our money and our minds and our spirits, because we have to find the synchronicity between all three things, because it's not just about dollars and cents. We can make money all day, but if our spirits are out of alignment and our mentality is off, then what happens? Just having money that is not enough. Just having a high spiritual vibration and not having any money sucks too, right? They all go together. It's like, let's get everything, let's get all the levels together. So I appreciate everyone coming live. I see my sister Lamira here. I see Lisa, Marcia. Thank you for coming out live and making comments. But we really just, getting the control. We had a wonderful overcomer here, Anissa, from the founder of the Soul Sister Society. Go to Instagram and follow her at the Soul Sisters with an S Society, and join her and follow her. If you need to join her community, please join her community. You can be in her community and my community, because
We work
everybody's helping.
together.
There's no shame in having all the help you need, right?
Mm-mm.
It's just like when you go to the store and the shirt comes in pink and blue, and you like both. Do you have to choose, or why can't you just have both?
Love
Right?
it. Love it.
Sometimes. So, at any rate, thank you so much. Oh, I did forget one thing. I forgot to share this week's affirmation. Oh my God. I was going to get beat up by my regular viewers. This week's affirmation for you, to help empower you. And I chose this affirmation because it reminded me of Anissa and who she is, and the energy and the spirit that she brings. And the
Thank you.
affirmation is, I am courageous, strong, and full of vitality. I am courageous, strong, and full of vitality. And if I had to add anything to it, is I will win no matter what.
Yeah.
And so with that, come back next week. Be sure to go to the YouTube channel, hit like, leave a comment, subscribe, share it with your friends, and we'll be back again next week for another empowering conversation. Look out for my post next week for another live financial webinar on Zoom. That it won't be on live air, but it'll be on Zoom in a private group where we can talk real talk about your finances, where you are, where you want to be, and I'll be educating on at least one part of my financial framework next Sunday at 6 p.m. The link will be coming out on Wednesday. You don't want to miss the upcoming session. So with that, peace, love, and light. Let's get your money right. Bye.